I'm going to present you with an unknown Ninjago fact. The show has dialogue. I know, it is shocking to hear, but Ninjago episodes are filled to the brim, of course, with the characters speaking to each other, and a lot of the lines may fall by the wayside. There are probably Ninjago lines out there that no one remembers whatsoever, but there are a lot of lines also out there that have definitely become infamous, or at least famous, within the Ninjago community. And this is to the point where they may even travel outside of the community, and I do think that is very interesting to actually see. But with all of these lines, which are actually the most iconic of the lot. So what I have done today is I have gathered 10 of the most iconic Ninjago lines, and ordered them not really in most to least iconic, but definitely some of the more memorable to the least memorable of the bunch. And I'm going to present them to you today, and let's just talk about some of Ninjago's most iconic moments that come along with it. So yeah, that is going to be what we get up to today. Just talk about some of Ninjago's more infamous cases, and just talk about whether or not they are deserving to be up there with some of Ninjago's greatest moments. Honestly, some of them are, some of them aren't. There's a lot of Season 7 in here. Let me not waste any more of your time though, and let's talk about it. Now, like I said, the 10 lines that I have selected are completely subjective, and I may honestly have a different answer to what you guys have, but if you do, let me know in the comments down below. But we are going to start off with the general criteria. Basically, the only thing that I have based this off of is how often I hear these lines being used amongst me and others in the Ninjago community. I do think all of these have earned their spot on the list, so let's get into them. The number 10 line for me is definitely long before time had a name. This is definitely one of the first and one of the most iconic lines we've seen throughout the entirety of the show. It is always referred to as a certain time frame when it does come to anything related to Ninjago history. It has definitely earned its spot amongst the iconic lines, and it's definitely one that a lot of people would think of as one of the very first scenes of the first season of the show has got this line to begin with. I do think it's just one of those lines that you can't forget, and honestly, it definitely has earned its spot in comparison to the others. You're about to realize how downhill this goes. The 9th line that I've selected is going to be from Lloyd in Season 7, where he says, "They didn't win, we lost." This is just a complete oxymoron of a statement. There is just no way around it. Lloyd is just saying something just to reword it to make it sound better. This is a definite case of Season 7 syndrome, and it's not the only one we're gonna actually see this. There is just so much funny to unpack about this line that I can't help but get over. I have no idea why Lloyd thought this was a good idea, but yet here we are, and he decided to go off and say it. So it has to be number 9, because a lot of people remember this one from him. The 8th line is also coming from Season 7, and this one's coming from Cole, and it's going to be Cyrus Borg's Borg Watch, but no Cyrus Borg. This is just one of those sentences that is just really funny. There is nothing distinctly wrong with it, it's just how it's delivered and the context around it. It's just the fact that Cole exclaims it, and it's just really weird. It's just got Season 7 dialogue syndrome all over. There is no discernible way to tell you what is wrong with the sentence, because by all accounts it is correct. It is just extremely funny, and one that is actively quoted every time someone brings up Season 7. But hey, that brings us to the number 7 spot. Again, another Season 7 line. I promise you, we are gonna get away from it at some point. But this one had to be mentioned. This is again coming from Cole. During the Serpentine Wars, but Ninjago was at peace. Who would they be fighting? It's in the sentence, lad. It is quite simply there. It's the Serpentine Wars. You're fighting the Serpentine. I don't know how this line got through. I have no idea, and honestly feels like it's against Cole's character at this point, because he's not that stupid. Again, Season 7 dialogue syndrome, and it's really funny for that reason, but this one is definitely the most egregious in terms of Season 7, in my opinion. I just can't get over the fact that this one left in there. But yeah, it had to be that one in there as well. Number 6 is going to be going back to a regular line, I guess, but this one's going to be coming from Jay, and it's where he renamed Jitsu to Cyclone Do. This is definitely earned its spot within the Ninjago community. To this very day, anytime I talk about ninjutsu, people still refer to it as Cyclone Do. I do think it makes a lot of sense for it to be memorable because it came from one of the best and most popular seasons. A lot of people just really like that term of phrase, and it even reappeared in season 12. Nia says it herself, which I do think it is very telling. Honestly, when it just comes down to it, it's one of those lines that people will not forget because it's from that era of the show. So yeah, it's earned its spot and it's earned my respect. But with that, we are now into the number 5 zone, and this number 5 spot is going to be going to a line from Wu, being, "There is something I haven't told you." This is what Wu always seems to say whenever a new villain randomly comes out of nowhere that is inexplicably from Wu's past. That has happened many times with many different villains, and it seems to be that Wu should just finally tell the ninja everything that he has gone up to within his life, because it seems to be that it just keeps on happening. We haven't had one in a while, and I do think that is a good thing, and honestly I hope it never comes up again, but it was definitely quite infamous that Wu would just randomly have villains on the mind around the time that they would become a problem. So again, it feels like it did earn its spot because of the context around it, and definitely does feel iconic for that particular reason. The number 4 spot is going to be going to a more meme-like line that has definitely earned its way later on, and it's going to be from Kai in the first episode of season 1, being, "Could I be the Green Ninja?" This has definitely gone beyond the Ninjago community. All of the ones from here onwards has definitely gone beyond, because this one has become its own meme. It has become one that people who aren't a fan of Ninjago has definitely heard about. That shot of Kai looking into the distance is definitely one that a lot of people do find memorable, and for good reason. It's a really funny line in context of some of those jokes, but I do think it is really interesting that that one is one of the few that has gotten beyond. But there is one more that has gone a lot further than that, and that is why it's in the number 3 slot. So let's get into that one. And that had to be the line, "Wait a minute, I'm still black." This of course being from Cole in the pilot, where his outfit did not change colour. This one again has gone completely beyond the Ninjago community. This is still one that I actively see on platforms like TikTok to this very day. It is very, very commonly used, and it is honestly very funny when used in the jokes that it is used in. So I do think this one again was deserving, and I do think bronze spot for this line is very worthy, because again, there are just so many people that are aware of this one specific screenshot that may not even have heard of Ninjago. But again, this one really just has that recognizability, so I do think it has to be iconic for that very reason. But with that, we do get into the silver medal, and this one is, well, the name of the show, but in a different context. Ninjago is by far one of the most iconic lines in all of the show. It is what they scream when they use spinjitzu. It is what they say when they're just being a team. It is used all over the show, and I love it. It is used less in recent time, but it definitely still has its spot, and it's definitely one of the lines that people go to, especially considering, like I said, it's the title of the very show. You may think to yourself that it should actually be the number 1 pick because of it, but honestly, I do think there is one that does go beyond it, and I have a feeling that you guys might know what the answer is. But I do think it had to be number 2 for Ninjago. I do think it had to have that honor, but again, I couldn't help but put one at number 1. And that line is going to be going to Lloyd himself from Crystallized. "It's okay, she's with us," as he says it to the ninja with Harumi stood next to him. This is definitely the most infamous line in all of Ninjago, a line that a lot of people have taken issue with, and a line that a lot of people genuinely dread. The only thing I think of when I think of that line is Ninja Cole's video that's just called "No She Isn't." 400,000 views as well, may I add. But I will say that that line has definitely earned its spot for all of the wrong reasons, but it's definitely the line that people would think of when you think of lines from the show. It has definitely seared its way into the Ninjago community, and it definitely did have to have number 1 for that reason. I couldn't not put it at number 1. It is just simply that iconic and that funny to me, so it had to go there. So yeah, number 1 pick for possibly the worst line of the show. But that is my interpretation of the top 10 iconic lines from Ninjago. I would love to know what you guys think and if you guys agree or not. Like I said, if you don't, that is completely fine. I would love to know what your entries would be, and honestly, I'm very curious to know which ones I am missing out on. Because if there's a huge one that's in the comments as soon as I post this video, I will be gutted. But I honestly do think I've gotten the best ones of the lot here, and I would love to know what you guys think. And beyond all of that, I would like to know which of these is your favorite. Which ones of these is the one that you would actively quote? For me personally, It's Okay She's With Us is the best one, but I can't go a week without saying about the Serpentine Wars. That line is just simply too much for me to handle. But I do think they are all equally contendable when it does come to the most iconic. But that is why, like I said, I want to know what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people, and if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each of you are absolute legends for your support, and it truly does mean the world to me. But like I said, that's about it for today, and take care. Okay,